The stars looked different from New Terra. Lieutenant Commander John Reeves noticed this every night during his watch at the Colonies defense outpost. After 5 years stationed on this frontier world, he still couldn't get used to the strange patterns in the night sky. John checked the sensor readings again and frowned. For the third night in a row, something unusual was appearing at the edge of their detection range. Small distortions that lasted only seconds before vanishing. "You seeing this, Martinez?" John asked his sensor officer. Diana Martinez nodded, her eyes fixed on the screen. "Yes, sir. Same pattern as yesterday. It's like something is poking holes in space and then sealing them back up." John ran a hand through his short brown hair. Protocol said he should report this to Earth Command, but part of him hesitated. False alarms could damage his career. Still, after 20 years in the United Earth Defense Force, his gut feelings had saved his life more than once. "Send the data to Earth. Flag it priority 2, he finally ordered. 3 days later, Lisa Grant stepped off the transport shuttle onto New Terra's landing pad. The diplomatic officer had made the journey from Earth in record time, traveling through 3 jump gates. Her orders were clear: investigate the anomalies and determine if they represented potential first contact. "Lieutenant Commander Reeves?" she called, spotting a uniformed man waiting by the terminal. "Ms. Grant," John replied with a quick salute. "Welcome to New Terra. Wish it was under better circumstances." Lisa smiled tightly. "Has there been any change in the readings?" "Nothing for 2 days. Then 4 hours ago, we picked up a massive energy surge at the edge of the Horizon system. Our sister colony went dark shortly after." Lisa's smile vanished. "Take me to your command center now." The Situation Room buzzed with activity when they arrived. Colony Director Peter Wells was already there, his face grim as he studied the large display screen. "Ms. Grant," he nodded. "We've got partial communications restored with Horizon. You need to see this." The screen flickered to life, showing shaky footage from what appeared to be a handheld camera. A man was speaking urgently, his face dirty and bleeding from a cut above his eye. "This is Alan Winters, Colonial Director of Horizon. We are under attack by unknown forces. Their ships appeared without warning." The image shook violently as an explosion sounded in the background. "They're not responding to any communication attempts, they just started firing." "Oh God." The camera tilted upward, showing the sky above the colony. What they saw made Lisa's blood run cold. Massive ships, unlike anything in human design, hovered above the settlement. They were shaped like elongated teardrops, with surfaces that seemed to pulse with an internal light. As they watched, one of the vessels released a stream of energy that struck a building in the distance, vaporizing it instantly. "Their technology is beyond anything we've seen," Alan continued, his voice shaking. "They targeted our defense systems first, then communication arrays. I'm broadcasting on an emergency backup channel. Please send help." The transmission cut to static. Director Wells turned to face them. "That came through 30 minutes ago. Nothing since." John straightened his uniform. "How many people on Horizon?" "Just over 2 million, Lisa answered quietly. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spread to 7 colony, worlds across 3 star systems, but their defenses had been designed to handle human threats: pirates, separatists, and the occasional corporate conflict. "Nothing like this. We need to evacuate," Director Wells said finally. "If these, whatever they are, can do this to Horizon, New Terra is next." Before anyone could respond, the sensor officer called out, "Sir, multiple objects exiting FTL. At the edge of our system." John moved to the main console. "Show me." The display shifted to show 12 teardrop-shaped vessels moving in perfect formation toward New Terra. They were still hours away at sublight speeds, but their intention was clear. "Begin immediate evacuation," Director Wells ordered. "Priority to children and essential personnel. Get a message to Earth. We need the fleet." As the room erupted into activity, a communication request flashed on the main screen. The source was listed as unknown. John and Lisa exchanged glances before he authorized the connection. The screen filled with an alien face. Its skin was pale blue with intricate patterns that seemed to shift like liquid. 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern blinked independently at them. When it spoke, its mouth barely moved, but they heard the words clearly in their minds. Humans, of the colony designation New Terra. I am Overseer Zilktor of the Verox Collective. Your species has trespassed in our ancestral domain. Your settlements occupy worlds marked for our expansion 10,000 cycles ago. You will surrender all colonial holdings and retreat to your origin world. Lisa stepped forward. This is Diplomatic Officer Lisa Grant of the United Earth Government. We were unaware of any prior claims to these systems. We wish to establish peaceful. Your ignorance does not excuse your trespass, the alien interrupted. You were not invited to these stars. You were not granted permission to build upon these worlds. The decision has been made. You have 1 planetary rotation to begin evacuation. Those who remain will be removed. Lisa tried again. Please, we need to discuss this. There must be room for compromise. Compromise is a concept for equals. You are not our equals. The connection terminated. John turned to Lisa. I don't think they're interested in diplomacy. Within hours, the evacuation was underway, but it was clear most colonists wouldn't make it off-world in time. New Terra had a population of 800,000 spread across 3 major settlements. The available ships could carry perhaps a quarter of that number. As night fell, John stood on the observation deck of the command center with Lisa and Director Wells, watching as shuttles streamed upward into the darkness. Earth fleet won't arrive for at least 5 days, Wells said quietly, even if they left the moment we sent the alert. Lisa nodded. Which means we're on our own. John watched as the alien ships drew closer on the tactical display. Maybe they're bluffing. Maybe they just want to scare us off. His words died as the lead ship suddenly accelerated, breaking formation and positioning itself directly above the colony's second-largest settlement. A brilliant beam of energy lanced downward from the vessel. On the horizon, they could see a flash of light as bright as a new sun. When the light faded, the settlement's location showed only a smoking crater. 150,000 people. Gone in seconds. They're not bluffing, Lisa whispered, on. Earth Defense Secretary Catherine Powell watched the footage from New Terra with growing horror. Beside her, military leaders sat in stunned silence as they witnessed the destruction of another human colony. Get me General Carter, Powell said, quietly to her aide. Tell him to initiate the Olympus protocol. The giants must wake. 2 months after the first attack, the Verox had destroyed 4 human colony worlds. Earth's defenses were on high alert, but everyone knew their weapons were no match for the alien technology. Regular people began to build underground shelters. Some prayed. Others rioted in the streets, demanding answers from their leaders. In a windowless room deep beneath the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Catherine Powell sat at the head of a long table. Around her sat the highest-ranking military officers of the United Earth Government. Their faces showed the strain of 2 months of constant defeats. The Verox fleet has entered the Sol system, Admiral Frank Taylor reported. They've already destroyed our outer defenses. We estimate they'll reach Earth in 6 days. Powell nodded, her gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. And the evacuation? Less than 10% of Earth's population could be moved to the underground. Shelters in time, said General Mary Rodriguez. Even if they spare the planet itself, billions will die if they target our cities. Powell stood up and walked to a screen showing the approaching alien fleet. Then we have no choice. It's time to use our last option. She pressed a button on the table. A door at the far end of the room opened. A tall man with a weathered face and close-cropped white hair walked in. He wore a simple black uniform with no markings except for a small pin shaped like a lightning bolt. Ladies and gentlemen, Powell said, most of you have never met General William Carter. For the past 30 years, he has led our most classified military program. Carter walked to the table and placed his hand on a scanner. The lights dimmed, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed what looked like enormous human-shaped machines. Since humans first reached space, we've prepared for this day, Carter said. His voice was deep and calm. While the public saw our regular ships and weapons, we built something else in secret. Something that could save us if we ever met a threat we couldn't handle with conventional means. Admiral Taylor leaned forward. "What am I looking at, General?" "Call them Titans," Carter replied. "War machines standing 100 meters tall, powered by experimental quantum cores. Each one carries enough firepower to take down a small fleet." The room filled with shocked whispers. "Why weren't we told about this?" demanded General Rodriguez. "Because they were never meant to be used," Powell answered. "The Titans were built as a last resort. Using them comes with great risk, not just to our enemies, but to ourselves." Carter nodded. "The Titans require human pilots, not just any humans, special ones with rare brain patterns. The neural link between pilot and machine is dangerous. Early tests had unfortunate results." He showed them more images. Massive facilities hidden under oceans and inside mountains where the Titans waited in silence. "We've kept 12 Titans in standby mode. Now we need to activate them and find their pilots." Powell turned to face the group. "I've already authorized the Olympus protocol. General Carter will lead this operation. You are all here because we need your cooperation to make this work." Hours later, Chief Engineer Susan Blackwood stood inside the massive underwater hangar beneath the Mariana Trench. Above her towered the dormant form of Titan 7, codenamed Nemesis. In the harsh lights of the facility, its black and silver armor gleamed. Its face was a smooth metal plate with a single glowing line where eyes would be on a human. Susan checked the diagnostic panel as technicians swarmed around the giant's feet. After decades of sleep, awakening the Titans was delicate work. "How's it going?" General Carter asked, approaching from behind. Susan pushed her glasses up. "The power systems are responding, but the neural interfaces are degraded. We need to replace them before any pilot can link up." Carter frowned. "How long?" 3 days for this one. Less for the others once we get the process down." Carter nodded. "Do it faster if you can. The Verox won't wait." On the other side of the world, in a small cabin in the Rocky Mountains, Jack Monroe sat on his porch watching the sunset. At 35, he looked older than his years. A jagged scar ran from his left temple to his jaw, a reminder of his last battle as a fighter pilot. Jack sipped his whiskey as he listened to the news on an old radio. The reporter's voice shook as she described the approaching alien fleet. Jack had known about the attacks on the colonies. Everyone did. But hearing that Earth itself might be next made it real in a new way. A noise made him look up. A military transport craft was landing in the clearing near his cabin. Jack wasn't surprised. Part of him had been waiting for this since the first attack. 2 soldiers stepped out, followed by a woman in a lab coat. Jack recognized her immediately. Dr. Olivia Ramirez. His heart beat faster at the sight of her. "Jack," she said, walking toward him. "It's been a long time." 5 years, he replied. "Not long enough to forget why I left." Olivia's eyes softened. "We need you back." Jack laughed without humor. "The best pilots in the fleet couldn't stop these aliens. What do you think I can do?" "We're not putting you in a fighter," she said. "This is something else. Something you were born for." She handed him a tablet. On the screen was his neural scan from before he'd left the service. Beside it was a simulation showing perfect synchronization with something called Titan Neural Architecture. "What is this?" he asked. "A chance to save everyone," Olivia answered. "Your brain pattern is the most compatible we've ever seen. You're the only one who can pilot Nemesis." Jack stared at the data. "Nemesis? I can't explain here. But we need you, Jack. Earth needs you." Jack looked past her to the darkening sky. Somewhere up there, death was coming for humanity. He thought about all the people who would die if he refused. "When do we leave?" he asked. 24 hours later, Jack stood in the control center of the underwater facility. Through the reinforced glass windows, he could see the massive form of Nemesis. Workers looked like ants around its feet. General Carter and Dr. Ramirez stood beside him. The neural link allows the pilot to control the Titan as if it were their own body, Olivia explained. But it's more than that. The Titan systems will merge with your mind. You'll think faster, react quicker. You'll feel what the Titan feels. And the risks? Jack asked. Carter answered. Mental breakdown, physical damage to your brain, death in the worst cases. Comforting, Jack muttered. We've improved the system, Olivia added quickly. The danger is less than it used to be. Jack watched as technicians prepared the neural link chamber inside Nemesis's chest. How many other pilots have you found? 8 so far, Carter said. We're still searching for the last 3. When do we start training? Carter and Olivia exchanged glances. There's no time for training, Carter said. The Verox fleet will reach Earth in 4 days. You'll learn as you go. Jack took a deep breath and stepped closer to the window. He pressed his hand against the glass, measuring himself against the giant machine beyond. Something stirred inside him, a sense of recognition he couldn't explain. Let's get started then, he said. Jack lay on his back inside the neural link chamber of Nemesis. The space was small and dark, lined with sensors that would connect his mind to the massive machine. Thin needles hovered above his spine, ready to create the physical connection. Try to relax, Olivia's voice came through the speakers. She watched him from the control room with General Carter and a team of scientists. The more tense you are, the harder this will be. Jack closed his eyes and took deep breaths. Easy for you to say. You're not getting needles in your spine. The neural link is more than just a control system, Olivia explained. The Titans have awareness, not exactly artificial intelligence, but something close. You won't just control Nemesis. You'll become partners. Jack opened his eyes. You didn't mention that part before. Beginning neural link process, another scientist announced, ignoring Jack's comment. The needles descended, piercing Jack's skin at the base of his skull and along his spine. He gasped at the sharp pain, then felt a cold sensation spreading through his body. Neural pathways connecting, someone said. Synchronization at 20%, 30, 50. Jack's vision blurred. He felt strange, as if his body was growing larger by the second. In his mind, he saw flashes of battles he'd never fought, planets he'd never visited. Synchronization at 70%, the scientist reported. Highest we've ever recorded on first attempt. Then Jack heard a voice in his mind. Not quite words, more like feelings and images that formed into thoughts. Hello, Jack Monroe. Jack tried to speak but couldn't. His mouth wouldn't move. Don't try to talk yet. Think your words instead. Who are you? Jack thought. I am Nemesis. I have waited a long time for you. Jack felt his awareness expand beyond the small chamber. He could suddenly feel massive limbs, powerful systems humming with energy. He could see the entire hangar through Nemesis's sensors. We are connecting, the voice continued. Soon we will be one. Synchronization at 90%, the scientist said, sounding amazed. He's going to do it. Jack felt a final surge as his mind fully merged with the Titan. Suddenly he was standing in the hangar, towering over the humans below. He lifted his hand, Nemesis's hand, and watched the massive fingers move. Jack? Olivia's voice came through the communication system. Can you hear me? Jack tried to answer, but realized he didn't know how to make Nemesis speak. Like this, the Titan's consciousness guided him. A moment later, a deep rumbling voice filled the hangar. I hear you, Jack Nemesis said. This is incredible. Around the facility, technicians cheered. In the 3 days since Jack's arrival, they had watched 5 other pilot candidates fail to connect with their Titans. 2 had died screaming. 1 was now in a coma. Jack was the first success. General Carter stepped forward. How does it feel, Monroe? Jack looked down at the tiny human. From Nemesis's height, Carter looked no bigger than an ant. It feels right, sir, like I was made for this. Good, Carter nodded. Because the Verox fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Earth in 36 hours. Across the hangar, another Titan was powering up. Its eyes glowed blue instead of Nemesis's red. This one was sleeker, built for speed, rather than raw power. That's Athena, Carter explained. Her pilot just completed synchronization as well. Through Nemesis's enhanced vision, Jack could see into Athena's open chest cavity. A woman was connected to the neural link system there. She looked pale but determined. "Who is she?" Jack asked. "Lieutenant Maria Diaz," Olivia answered. "Former Special Forces. She's the only other pilot we've found who's compatible enough for full synchronization. She is strong," Nemesis observed in Jack's mind, "but she fights her Titan instead of joining with it." Jack didn't share this observation with the others. Instead, he took a careful step forward, testing Nemesis's movement. The giant machine responded perfectly, as if it were his own body. "How many Titans will be ready in time?" he asked. Carter's face grew grim. "Just 4. You, Diaz, and 2 others who managed partial synchronization. The rest will have to wait." 4 against an entire fleet? Jack struggled to keep the doubt from his voice. 4 is all we need," Carter said firmly. "The Titans were built to fight impossible odds. In orbit around Earth, the combined forces of humanity's space fleet prepared for their last stand. 50. Warships formed a defensive line between Earth and the approaching Verox armada. Fleet Commander Nancy Chen knew it was a suicide mission, but every minute they could delay the aliens was another minute for the evacuation on Earth to continue. "All ships, maintain formation," she ordered from the bridge of the flagship UES, Defender. "We hold them as long as possible." Her second-in-command, Captain Frank Miller, looked at the tactical display showing the oncoming alien ships. "Ma'am, there's something you should see." The screen showed 4 massive transport vessels rising from Earth's atmosphere. Each was 3 times the size of the largest human warship. They were like nothing the fleet had ever seen before. "What are those?" Chen asked. Before Miller could answer, a priority communication came through. General Carter's face appeared on screen. "Commander Chen," he said, "those transports are carrying our secret weapons. You are ordered to create a corridor for them to pass through your lines." Chen looked confused. "Sir, my orders are to defend Earth at all costs." "These are your new orders," Carter replied firmly. "Those transports contain the only hope humanity has left. Let them through." Chen hesitated, then nodded. "All ships, create a passage for the transports. Let them through our defensive line." The fleet parted, allowing the 4 massive ships to pass. As they moved beyond the human defenses toward the approaching Verox fleet, Chen couldn't help but wonder what kind of weapon could possibly turn the tide now. Inside the lead transport, Jack Nemesis stood secured in a launch bay. Through the ship's sensors, he could see the vastness of space and the enemy fleet growing larger by the minute. "They think they're hunting sheep," Nemesis whispered in his mind. "They don't know they've awakened wolves." Beside him, Maria Diaz her Titan Athena stood ready. Behind them were the other 2 Titans, Hyperion and Orion, their pilots managing just enough synchronization to fight. "All Titan pilots," General Carter's voice came through their communication systems. "You are humanity's last hope. Your mission is simple. Stop the Verox at any cost." The transport's massive doors began to open, revealing the endless void of space. Jack felt a mix of terror and exhilaration as Nemesis's systems adapted for vacuum combat. "Are you ready?" Nemesis asked in his mind. Jack thought of Earth behind him, of billions of lives depending on what happened in the next few hours. "Yes," he answered. "Let's show them what happens when you wake the giants of war." The vastness of space surrounded Jack as Nemesis launched from the transport ship. The giant war machine moved with surprising grace, propelled by powerful thrusters built into its back and legs. Jack could feel the emptiness of space through Nemesis's sensors, but he wasn't cold or afraid of the vacuum. The Titan protected him completely. "This is what we were made for," Nemesis whispered in his mind. Beside him, the other 3 Titans spread out in formation. Athena moved with quick, precise motions. Hyperion and Orion followed more slowly, their movements less confident as their pilots struggled with partial synchronization. "All Titans, report status," Jack said, taking the lead naturally. "Athena, Ready? Maria responded. Her voice sounded strained but determined. Hyperion functioning, came another voice belonging to pilot Ben Rogers. Sync at 65% but holding. Orion online, said Steve Hayes, the last pilot. Having trouble with the right arm systems, but weapons are functional. Jack Baugh turned Nemesis toward the approaching Verox fleet. Through enhanced vision, he could see hundreds of alien ships moving in perfect formation. At the center was a vessel 3 times larger than the others, likely the command ship. Remember the plan? General Carter's voice came through their communication systems. Draw their attention away from Earth. Make them focus on you. 4 against hundreds, Maria said. Those are some odds. Jack felt Nemesis's confidence flowing through him. We don't need to beat them all. Just show them we're too expensive to fight. The Titans activated their weapon systems. Nemesis's hands transformed, fingers folding back to reveal massive energy cannons. Plates shifted across its chest, opening to expose missile launchers. Jack felt the power building within the giant machine. Let me show you what we can do, Nemesis, suggested. Jack surrendered more control to the Titan's consciousness. Suddenly, targeting systems he didn't know existed came online. Nemesis could track every ship in the enemy fleet simultaneously, calculating firing solutions in microseconds. They've spotted us, Ben reported as Hyperion's sensors detected the Verox ships changing course. A group of 30 smaller vessels broke from the main fleet, heading directly for the Titans. Here they come, Jack said. Remember, stay together. We protect each other. The first alien ships reached firing range and released streams of energy toward the Titans. Jack raised Nemesis's arm, activating the shield. A shimmering barrier of energy formed, absorbing the attacks with ease. Now, he commanded. The 4 Titans fired simultaneously. Nemesis's energy cannons released beams of blinding light that cut through 3 alien ships. Athena launched a swarm of guided missiles that wiped out 5 more. Hyperion and Orion focused on a larger vessel, their combined firepower tearing it apart. In seconds, a third of the attacking force was destroyed. The remaining ships scattered, clearly surprised by the Titan's power. They didn't expect this, Maria said, her voice stronger now. They thought we were helpless. On the bridge of the Verox command ship, Overseer Zilktor watched in disbelief as his scout vessels were annihilated. These new human weapons were unlike anything his species had encountered before. What are these machines? He demanded of his science officer. Unknown, Overseer, the officer replied. They appear to be humanoid war platforms with technology, far beyond what humans have demonstrated previously. Zilktor's 4 eyes narrowed. Dispatch the hunter-killer squadrons. All of them. Another wave of Verox ships moved toward the Titans. This time over 100 vessels of various sizes. They spread out, trying to surround the 4 human machines. They're changing tactics, Jack observed. Everyone stay alert. The new attack was more coordinated. Energy beams, missiles, and strange sphere-like projectiles came from all directions. The Titan's shields flared brightly as they absorbed the assault. Shield at 60%, Steve reported from Orion. We can't take this forever. We don't need to defend. We need to attack, Nemesis urged Jack. Jack nodded, understanding instantly. Everyone follow me. Nemesis rocketed forward directly into the center of the enemy formation. Jack felt a surge of power as the Titan tapped into its quantum core. Energy built up in Nemesis's chest, then exploded outward in all directions. 20 alien ships disappeared in the blast. Maria caught on quickly. Athena darted between enemy vessels with incredible speed, slicing through them with energy blades that extended from her arms. Ben and Steve followed their lead, their Titans moving with increasing confidence as they and their machines learned from each other in real time. For 15 minutes, space around them was chaos. The Verox ships tried every tactic, every weapon they had, but the Titans were unstoppable. When one Titan's shield weakened, the others protected it until it recovered. Jack felt something changing inside him. The boundary between himself and Nemesis was fading. He wasn't just controlling the machine anymore, he was becoming the machine. His thoughts moved faster than humanly possible. He could process data from hundreds of sensors simultaneously. Was this what Carter had warned about? Don't fight it, Nemesis told him. This is the true joining. On the human fleet's flagship, Commander Chen watched in amazement as 4 giant machines tore through the Verox forces. Her crew cheered with each alien ship that was destroyed. What are those things? Captain Miller asked beside her. Chen shook her head. I don't know, but they're giving us a chance. The battle continued to rage, but now the Verox began to pull back. Their formations became defensive rather than aggressive. They're retreating, Maria reported as Athena destroyed another enemy vessel. Jack wasn't satisfied. Through Nemesis's systems, he could see the main Verox fleet holding position. Still, a threat to Earth. Not all of them, he said. Follow me. We're going for their command ship. The 4 Titans blasted through the remnants of the hunter-killer squadrons, heading directly for the heart of the alien fleet. As they approached, the massive command ship began to move away. They're running, Ben said in disbelief. They fear us now, Nemesis observed in Jack's mind, but fear can make enemies more dangerous. Jack was about to respond when a new signal appeared on Nemesis's sensors. A massive energy buildup was detected in the command ship's central section. Evasive action, he shouted. The command ship fired, a beam of energy unlike anything they'd seen before. It missed Nemesis by meters but struck Hyperion directly. The Titan's shields failed instantly. For a moment, Hyperion glowed with strange energy. Then its systems began to shut down. I'm losing control, Ben cried out. Something's happening to the neural link. Jack watched in horror as Hyperion's body went rigid, then drifted lifelessly in space. Ben, Jack called. Ben, respond. There was no answer. Maria moved Athena next to the damaged Titan. His life signs are fading. The neural shock is killing him. Jack felt rage building inside him, both his own and Nemesis's. Together, they focused on the Verox command ship as it prepared to fire again. No more, Jack growled. This ends now. Jack felt something change inside Nemesis. The Titan's quantum core pulsed with energy unlike anything he had experienced before. New systems came online, systems he hadn't known existed. We have one more transformation, Nemesis explained in his mind. It was locked away until needed most. What transformation? Jack asked aloud. In answer, Nemesis's body began to shift. Armor plates moved, revealing glowing circuits beneath. The Titan's hands reformed into weapons Jack didn't recognize. Most dramatically, 6 wing-like structures extended from its back, each one crackling with energy. The final form. Our creators called it Ascension Mode. On the command deck of the human flagship, Commander Chen stared at her sensor readings in disbelief. The energy output from that Titan just increased by 500%, reported Captain Miller. Whatever it's doing, I've never seen anything like it. Chen opened a channel to General Carter. General, what exactly are those machines capable of? Carter's voice was grim when he answered. We're about to find out. Even I wasn't told everything about the Titans. In space, Maria and Steve watched as Nemesis transformed. Jack, what's happening? Maria asked, moving Athena closer. I'm not sure, Jack replied, his voice sounding strange, deeper, with an electronic echo. But I think we just unlocked the Titan's true power. Maria hesitated, then made a decision. Athena, if you have something like this, now's the time. To her surprise, she felt her Titan respond. Yes, pilot. Together we can ascend. Athena began to transform as well, her sleeker form developing similar wing-like structures, though smaller than Nemesis's. Steve followed their lead, searching for a deeper connection with Orion. Though his synchronization was weaker, Orion also began to change, its armor shifting to reveal more powerful weapons. The Verox command ship fired its main weapon again. This time, the beam headed straight for Earth's defense fleet. Without hesitation, Nemesis moved in front of the beam. Jack raised the Titan's hand, and something impossible happened. The energy beam stopped in mid-space, held by some force emanating from Nemesis. What are you doing? Maria called out. That's too much power. We can absorb it, Nemesis told Jack. Then use it against them. Jack felt the incredible energy flowing into Nemesis, feeding its systems rather than destroying them. The Titan's core glowed brighter, processing the alien weapon's power. Then, with a thought from Jack, Nemesis redirected the energy back at the command ship. The beam struck the vessel's side, cutting deep into its structure. Secondary explosions rippled across its surface. On board the command ship, Overseer Zilktor gripped his control panel in shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "No technology could do that." His science officer looked up from her station, 4 eyes wide with fear. "Overseer, I've analyzed their machine's energy signature. It matches the Ancestors' technology." Zilktor froze. The Ancestors were a semi-mythical race that the Verox believed had once ruled the galaxy. Their disappearance millions of years ago was the greatest mystery in Verox history. "Open a communication channel to that machine," he ordered. Jack was preparing for another attack when the communication request came through. Nemesis displayed the alien leader's face in Jack's mind. "Human pilot," Zilktor said, his mental voice trembling slightly. "How did your kind acquire the Ancestors' technology?" Jack was confused. "I don't know what you're talking about." "He means us," Nemesis explained privately. "The Titans were reverse engineered from technology found on Mars, technology not made by human hands." This revelation stunned Jack, but he didn't let it show. "You attacked our colonies without warning," he told Zilktor. "You killed millions of innocent people." "We feared what you would become," Zilktor admitted. "Our seers predicted humans would one day threaten our existence. We sought to eliminate the threat before it grew too powerful." "So you decided to kill us first?" Jack's anger rose again. "That's not protection. That's murder." Maria moved Athena forward to join Nemesis. "We should finish this, Jack. They'll just keep coming otherwise." Jack knew she was right. The Verox had shown no mercy to the colonies. Why should humanity show mercy now? Because mercy is what separates you from them, Nemesis suggested in his mind. Jack was surprised. "I thought you wanted to destroy them." "I want to protect humanity. Sometimes protection comes through strength, not destruction." Jack made his decision. "Overseer Zilktor, I'm sending you data from our Titan's sensors. It shows what happened to your ships that attacked us. Share it with your fleet and your leaders." Zilktor received the transmission, showing dozens of Verox ships destroyed by just 4 Titans. "Now imagine what would happen if we activated all 12 Titans," Jack continued. "Your entire species could be at risk." The alien leader was silent for a long moment. "What do you propose?" "Return to your territory, leave human space completely. We will establish a neutral zone between our peoples. And if we refuse?" Jack let Nemesis's power flare visibly. "Then we finish what you started. Only one species will survive." Back on Earth, Defense Secretary Powell and General Carter watched the exchange with growing tension. "Is he authorized to negotiate?" Powell asked. Carter shrugged. "At this point, I'm not sure Monroe is taking orders from anyone." After a long silence, Zilktor spoke again. "We will withdraw. The Verox Collective agrees to your terms." The command ship began to move away, followed by the rest of the fleet. As they retreated, Maria brought Athena alongside Nemesis. "Can we trust them?" she asked. "No," Jack replied. "But they've seen what we can do now. They won't risk another attack soon." Steve maneuvered Orion closer, carrying the damaged form of Hyperion. "Ben didn't make it," he reported sadly. The neural shock was too much. Jack felt grief mix with their victory. One pilot lost and millions of colonists dead. The cost had been tremendous. 3 days later, Jack stood in a meeting room at Earth Defense Headquarters. He still felt strange in his own body, smaller and weaker after being merged with Nemesis for so long. Part of him longed to return to the Titan to feel that power and connection again. General Carter entered, followed by Secretary Powell and a group of government officials. "The Verox fleet has left our solar system," Carter announced. "Long-range sensors show them returning to their territory." "What happens now?" Jack asked. Powell stepped forward. The government wants the Titan program expanded. They're talking about building more, creating a permanent force. Jack shook his head. The Titans weren't meant to be weapons of war. They're protectors. What do you mean? Carter asked, looking confused. Nemesis showed me the truth. The Titans were built using alien technology found on Mars, technology from a race the Verox call the Ancestors. The room fell silent. There's more out there, Jack continued. More species, more threats. The Verox attacked because they were afraid of what we might become. Maybe they had reason to be afraid. He looked at each person in the room. The Titans should be guardians, not conquerors. If we use them to attack others, we'll be no better than the Verox. Powell nodded slowly. What do you suggest? A new organization, Jack said. Independent from military control. The Titan pilots working together to protect humanity, not just from outside threats, but from our own worst instincts. Carter frowned. The government won't easily give up control of such powerful weapons. They're not just weapons, Jack replied. And they weren't made to serve governments. They were made to protect life. As they debated, Jack looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, Nemesis waited in its hangar, ready when needed. Jack could still feel the Titan's presence in his mind, a constant reminder of the power they had unleashed. The giants of war had awakened, but perhaps they could become something more. Giants of peace.